installment of AA Computers and Technology. Today we're going to be taking a look at this Gateway model number MT6458 laptop computer. Unfortunately, this is the last system I have in storage, so that means next week I'm going to have to go out, go hit some garage sales, and see if I can't pick something up to show you guys and mess around with. But this was my personal laptop until I upgraded to the Asus G75 gaming PC, and I actually really liked it. And I still do like it because it's a lot lighter than my gaming PC, and the battery life, believe it or not, despite the fact that it's 7 years old, is still about the same, if not longer, than the gaming laptop. So really want to take this out and show you guys. Unfortunately, as I said earlier, this is the last PC in the archives, so it's going to be a while before we get another old computer video up. But in the meantime, in the next couple of days, I'm going to be experimenting with Windows 10 running on a Pentium 4, so check it out when I upload it. It's going to be really neat. Hopefully it works, because I mean I just put it on a flash drive right now, so I have no idea if it's going to work or not. Probably going to be a big pain in the butt to get on a Pentium 4 machine, but I really want to see how well it runs on old hardware, and if it's worth upgrading to Windows 10, because this is just the preview version, not the actual version of Windows 10, because that's not even out yet. Anyway, I'm starting to get off track now, so let's go ahead and take a look around this computer, then we'll open it up. There's a nice, easy way to get into the back of this computer so we can see all the goodies inside, and I'm going to boot this up into Windows 7, and we can check out the performance of this system. Originally, this computer shipped with Windows Vista, which was garbage, and I had to get rid of. I used it for probably 5 years, 5-6 years with Vista on it, and I just couldn't take it anymore. So I wiped the hard drive, got a copy of Windows 7. I don't know which version of Windows 7. We'll find out when we boot it up. And I put that on there because Windows Vista, I think most of you can agree, was outrageous and just a pain in the butt to use. So let's go ahead and get started. As usual, let's go ahead and start from the front of the laptop. Directly in the center, you can see two LED indication lights. These are both indications for power. One is to notify you that the battery is charging, and the other one is to notify you that the laptop is actually on. Next to that, you can see two audio jacks. One is for the headphones. The one on the right is for the headphones, and the one on the left is for a microphone. That's really about it. As we move back, you can see the latch for the bezel right here, and then there are two grills for the speakers. Moving over to the right side of the computer, you can see quite a few interfaces. Towards the back, there are 4 USB 2.0 ports, an Ethernet port, and a modem. Let's go towards the front some more. You can see a SD card reader, and I believe right here that would be a 4-pin IEEE 1394 port, similar to a FireWire, I believe. But this is a more compact version. I could be wrong about this, so if I'm wrong, just go ahead and post a comment in the comment section, and then I'll just correct it using an annotation. But that's something you really don't see every day. And then moving closer towards the front, you can see a express card slot. Let's go ahead and move over to the left side of this laptop. On the left side, you can see a dual-layer DVD/CD-ROM drive, the air outtake vent for the CPU heatsink, and a S-Video out. As you can see, the back of this laptop is actually pretty plain. On the right side, you can see a VGA port, and then on the left side, you can see a power jack for our DC power adapter. Something that I want to touch on real quick is the fact that even after 7 years of use, these hinges are in great condition. Usually you don't see that on laptops, especially newer laptops. The hinges just fall apart. They're cheaply made, and especially these systems made around the mid-2000s, I want to say, they had a lot of hinge problems where the screen bezel would eventually just tear off. But as you can see, if I can turn this around and get the monitor up, no noise, it is smooth as butter, pretty much the same as the day I bought it. So really durable hinges on this laptop. Actually, the whole laptop itself is just built really nicely. And I almost forgot to film the lid, but on the top you can see the Gateway logo all chromed out, and the lid itself is actually textured, so it's really easy to hold on to. There you go, and you can see the texture across here. There are a couple scratches and dings on the front, but what do you expect? This laptop is 7 years old, and I did travel with it, so it is in pretty good condition, but you can see that it definitely has had some use. Looking inside this laptop, once again, we can see that the system is in pretty much mint condition. There's absolutely no wear on the wrist rest. The keyboard, trackpad, and mouse buttons still feel great, and the screen has no visible scratches on it. And if you look closely, you can see that I even left the original plastic protective lining on this. I just want to give you guys a closer look at this system. And right in front of you, you can see that there's a little black panel right here. This is where the rest of the LED indication lights lie for the system. So I'm just going to go across here so you guys can get a better look. I'm going to take you up and over the keyboard. As you can see, there's no visible, that ugly shiny effect that you get after you use the keyboard for a while. This keyboard doesn't have that yet. It still looks great. You can see, once again, there is a chromed out Gateway logo. The power button is surrounded by a blue LED, so it lights up when it turns on, which actually has a really neat looking effect. And then you can see the stickers for Windows Vista and the AMD Turion 64 dual-core processor. I flipped this laptop over, and as you can see, there is a bunch of ventilation for this system. But before I take all these panels off and show you what's behind them, I want to give you guys this Windows Vista product key, because I'm never going to use it. And it might still be valid, so who knows. I'm going to get that in focus. Oh, come on. Give me a break. There we go. I can see it on the screen, so you should be able to see it. And you can go ahead and take that, because I'm never going to use it. Looking at the battery, we can see that this is a 14.8 volt lithium-ion battery with a capacity of 4,800 milliamp hours. And unfortunately, I did test it, and it appears that this cell is dead. And I did mention earlier that this thing does last longer than my ASUS G75 laptop battery. And then I remembered, I left this out in my Prius during a hot summer day, and I toasted the battery. So before that, the battery did last a couple hours, and after that, it was dead. So I think now it probably lasts about 25 to 30 minutes. It still works, but the capacity is definitely a lot less than it was before. And unfortunately, this laptop is 7 years old, so they might not even make this model anymore. So I might not be able to use this for college. Kind of disappointed now. Well, that kind of stinks. But anyway, let's go ahead and pop some of these panels off so we can take a look at the hardware. Okay, so everything is open, and I'm going to go ahead and start with the primary section right here, which houses the CPU, RAM, and the heatsink, along with our graphics adapter as well. So, starting from the left, you can see 2 sticks of DDR2 Kingston memory. Each stick is 1 GB, so there's a total of 2 GB of DDR2 RAM in the system. And unfortunately, I'm not 100% sure if that's correct. I'll go into the BIOS and verify. It might be DDR, but since this laptop is around from 2007, I'm pretty sure it's DDR2. You can see the CPU, which would be under this little piece of the heatsink right here. And you can see the way the laptop heatsink is designed to spread across here. And then eventually the heat is dispersed using the heatsink fan right here. And let me go ahead and give you a better view of that. There you go. And as you can see, everything right here is relatively dust-free. That's because I maintenanced it just before I put it into storage. So I changed out the thermal paste and I vacuumed everything out. So now there's pretty much barely a speck of dust. And if we lifted up this little plate right here, you would be able to find our video adapter, which would be an ATI Radeon Xpress 1150. And then one more thing I want to touch on is the North Bridge right below the CPU right here. And as you can see, it's an ATI chipset. Let's pop on over to the hard drive bay. As you can see, I've already pulled the hard drive out, and I was actually surprised because I thought this was using a SATA interface, but I was wrong. This is actually PATA. You can see our IDE connector right there. This is a, let me see if I can get this in focus for you guys. There we go. Alright, so this is, how do you pronounce that? Oh, this is a momentous 5,400 RPM, 160 gigabyte Seagate hard drive, obviously 2.5 inches. And then if we focus this back out, you can see the compartment itself. You can see actually quite a bit of design went into this because they have a lot of dampening all around the compartment. So one, you don't hear the hard drive noise, and two, it's actually protecting the hard drive. So if you drop it, there actually is something soft there to absorb the impact.
And last but not least, you can see our Marvel MC85 Top Dog wireless card in there. And unfortunately, the drivers for this do not play well with Windows 7, so I have to use a different wireless adapter, and that would be a USB dongle. I could replace this with a Intel wireless adapter that I have in storage, but I'm not sure where it is, and I'm not going to bother with that right now. But this particular wireless adapter, unfortunately, does not work with Windows 7. Now I have to verify that all the information I just told you was actually right, so let's go ahead and throw this thing back together and we'll boot up into the BIOS. Unfortunately, you can see a glossy layer over the screen, and that's reflecting everything back to the camera. So hopefully you can see most of the stuff that I am trying to show you guys. We'll test that out now when we go into the BIOS. BIOS settings set. Oh, are you kidding me? Alright, I think it was F12. F2 or F12, one of those. There we go. Okay, so we are in the BIOS now, and you can see all of the system specifications listed right there. Right here you can see our hard drive and optical drives. Below that you can see our CPU, which is an AMD Turion 64 dual core processor running at 1600 megahertz. Each core has 512 megabytes of cache on it, and below that you can see our system memory, which totals 2 gigabytes, and then right below that, I'm not sure if the camera is actually showing that. Let me go ahead and fix that. You can see that we have 128 megabytes of video memory. I'm a little disappointed because I thought it would show us if this RAM is DDR or DDR2, but I'm pretty sure it is DDR2, so I'm just going to go with that. I think we hit everything we need to know, so let's go ahead and boot into Windows 7. Alright, exit the scoring changes because I didn't make any important changes. Exit out there, computer's going to reboot. And we passed the power on self-test, and we are now going into Windows, hopefully. There we go, starting Windows. Well, I just experienced a brief interruption, but now I am back, and you can see we are on the desktop of Windows 7. It didn't take too long to get into the operating system just because this is a fresh install of Windows 7, and we didn't have to load any background applications. So it only took probably about 45 seconds to get to the desktop where we are now. I had to cut the actual login process because, once again, I had a situation, couldn't record it, but now we are at the desktop. Let's go ahead and see what this system can do. When this laptop was in use as my primary system, I ran a variety of applications. This includes word processors, some light games such as Roller Coaster Tycoon. That was the main thing I played back then, and of course it ran some web-based games that relied on Java and Flash, such as RuneScape. What else? Of course, we used a web browser. I did a little bit of coding, so when I had the Vista installation on here, it did have Adobe Dreamweaver on it, but unfortunately that is gone. Roller Coaster Tycoon is also gone from this computer. I don't believe it actually has any games installed on it. It went through 2 installations of Windows 7. The first one, for some reason, I kept on getting errors with it, and I installed some games on it, like Need for Speed Most Wanted and even Roller Coaster Tycoon, but I had to wipe the hard drive because I was having issues with that installation, and I had to reinstall Windows 7 once again. So really the only applications I have on here are word processors and the internet browser, of course. So of course we're going to demo those applications, but first let's see what the Windows Experience Index has to say about the system. Okay, so I just ran a test, and the laptop didn't perform too bad. The main thing that's holding us back, as with most laptops, is the graphics rating. So let's go ahead and read through what we got. Processor, calculations per second, we scored a 4.1. Our RAM scored a 5.0. Graphics scored the lowest at a 2.8, so our total system rating is going to be a 2.8. Gaming graphics actually scored a little bit higher with a 3.2, and as I said before, it can run some light games, so it's not too bad. And then our primary hard disk, I mean, it's a 5200 RPM hard drive, so you're getting stuck with a 4.7 there. Since we do have Windows installed, I think I will run a benchmark close to the end of this video just for the heck of it. But as you can see, unfortunately, yes, we do not have any games installed, so that's a pity. I really want to demo something, but I have nothing installed at the moment, and there's really no point of installing anything. So let's go ahead and check out the word processor. Actually, let's just go ahead and look at the whole Office suite, and then we'll browse the web, try some web-based applications, that kind of thing. Right here we have Microsoft Office PowerPoint already on the start menu, so let's go ahead and check that out, open that up. Everything's responsive. Adding text, let's move that text box around. Yeah. So everything works great with Microsoft Word. I mean, I'm not going to demonstrate all the features, obviously. Let's go ahead and just try to insert a shape. Ooh, a square, look at that. Let's move that around. Nice and smooth. Graphics are performing just fine. Everything feels great with this. Close that out. Let's open probably the most important application, which would be Microsoft Word. Or at least in my opinion, the most important application. Okay, and I mean, really, what can you demonstrate? We can type. I can change the font size, the font color, that kind of thing. We're not going to really have any issues. Works nice and smooth. Why don't we go ahead and try to italicize that, make it bold, change the font type. I like Times New Roman, so what the heck? Let's get Times New Roman up here. There we go. Smooth as butter. Let's get out of here. Last but not least, let's go ahead and take a look around Microsoft Excel. I don't want to go through every application in the Microsoft Office suite because that would just take too long. So moving around the rows and columns just fine, typing in information, everything works great. We're having no problem with that. Don't want to spend too much time on this, so I'm going to get out of here. Let's go ahead and try out some web-based applications. I went ahead and yanked out my MediaLink wireless dongle from my desktop and put it in my laptop because, as I said earlier, the Marvel Top Dog wireless card in this laptop does not play well with Windows 7. So now we can go ahead and browse the internet using Chrome. First off, let's go ahead and try to play a YouTube video, which would be using Flash. So we're going to pop open Chrome. Just give it a couple seconds. Shouldn't take too long to open up here. There we go. Going to www.youtube.com. Being a little bit slow here. I'm just going to give it a couple seconds. There we go. The first time I tried this, it didn't take that long. For some reason, decided to just take a little bit longer. But now we're in YouTube, and let's go ahead and search up one of my videos because I don't want to get in trouble due to copyright issues. So I'm just going to play one of my videos. So AA computers and technology. Just going to scroll down here. And let's just find a recent one. I think my most recent video was this PNY solid state drive, so I'm going to pop that open and play it. And we're going to get a advertisement because I have to make money somehow. So we're just going to wait for that.
Are you ready for faster response times? Are you ready for storage that eases management? Are you ready for lower total cost of ownership?
Okay, let's just go ahead and make it full screen. Ooh, what happened there? Come on. There we go.
Hello and welcome to another installment of AA Computers and Technology. Today we're going to be taking a look at this PNY CS1100 series solid state drive.
So video playback is pretty smooth right now. The audio is in sync with the video. We're getting about probably just under 30 frames per second, maybe 27, 25. Because it doesn't feel like we're getting the full 30 frames. I want to see what resolution this is set to. So we're set to 720p. Let's go ahead and crank that up to 180p. Now we're probably going to experience a frame drop right here. And it appears, unfortunately, that this ATI, what are we running? ATI Radeon Xpress graphics cannot handle the video at 180p, so we're going to crank that back down to 720.
I wanted to buy a solid state drive.
And unfortunately, the video has become just a bit jerky, so I'm going to crank it down once again. It was playing at 720p just fine, but now we lost it for some reason. So the system should be absolutely fine with 480p. I don't think it's going to have a problem. There we go.
My laptop is equipped with SATA 3, so I had to put it in my laptop and then transfer it over to my desktop, and it was just a pain. So we're going to go ahead and get to the voiceover too in just a minute. So let's go ahead and get started. First things first, let's go ahead and pop this solid state drive out of its box.
Okay, so at 480p, the video plays back just fine. It appeared that for some reason, it played at 720p for a while and then just stopped and started stuttering. So 480p, audio's fine, video's fine, everything's in sync, and we're getting close to, if not, 30 frames per second. So let's go ahead and move on to something else.
Personally, I never...
The next thing that I want to do in this web browser is demonstrate a flash-based game playing. So I have Bloons Tower Defense up here. Don't act like you guys don't want to play this, because this was the game when I was in middle school. So let's go ahead and start a new game and see how smooth it is. So definitely a bit jerky. It is playable though. I think one of the main issues, especially with this website, is all of the ads over here on this side that keep popping up. I think that's slowing the system down significantly, so if we didn't have those to worry about, we wouldn't really have a problem. I should probably download some sort of ad blocker to stop that, but let's go ahead and run this anyway. Okay, so unfortunately, due to the fact that we have all these ads on this page, and really I can't find a page with Bloons Tower Defense on it without ads, I don't think we're really going to be able to play this game. The ads are just slowing the game down so much, and Flash Player down so much, that we're just having a lot of issues, and it's not really playable. So, Flash games on this system, it's debatable, depends on what site you're on. I promised you guys a benchmark, and that's exactly what we were going to do right now. As you can see, I took the liberty of installing PC Mark 7 onto this computer. This is just the basic edition, so we're just going to run the general benchmark and see what it comes back with. The benchmark is done, and we ended up scoring a 672. Let me go ahead and scroll down, because this benchmark actually gives us a detailed system information list. And most of this you've already seen, but one thing I want to hit on is the fact that we are, let me get all the way down here, actually running DDR2 RAM at 333 megahertz. So I was right. 2 gigabytes of DDR2 RAM. I couldn't confirm that before, but now I can. And I'm not sure if I mentioned this earlier, but we are running the 32-bit version of Windows 7 Ultimate. Gee whiz, look what PC Mark did to my screen. You see those splotches everywhere? If I, oh, you know, I just highlighted them, and they will disappear. Okay, so I think I'm going to call it a day. That's going to be it for this overview on the Gateway laptop. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, go ahead and post a comment in the comment section. Do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and of course, do not forget to like this video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next installment of AA Computers and Technology.